Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube today. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer, your ridiculous silver good brother, here with you once again, joined by the phenom Michael Bullock. We got the Twisted Angel, Didi Woodson. I'm not sure if good old MF Michael Fletcher will be joining us this evening. Not sure what's going on with him, but if he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed, or if not, then we'll hopefully we'll see him tomorrow, I guess, for the Cerebral Smack Talk. So we'll see what's going on with that. So nothing more to say. Let's dive into what was yet again another so-so edition of Monday Night Raw. Yeah, what a surprise, right? Um, Nonetheless, Raw was live tonight from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Yeah, that's it's an interesting site. I mean, I don't know if I've never remembered them doing much in that area, but it was live at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And we're going to start things off with, of course, an in-ring segment. We had, who else but the big dog, Roman Reigns, coming out and, talking smack about Bobby Lashley one more time. And then gets interrupted by Dolph Ziggler, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, and Drew McIntyre. And then they came out and they basically beat up on Roman Reigns. And then we get the save from Seth Rollins, and then it would lead into a match later on, a tag team match. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Shield reunion, going up against Ziggler and McIntyre. We'll get into that a little bit later on because that was another relevant highlight of this show. One of the few, but there were relevant highlights, and that was one of them. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I would probably say maybe this was the segment of the night here because the feud between these teams is entertaining, and I'm genuinely curious to see if they end up adding a third man to the mix with Ziggler and McIntyre, since Dean Ambrose should be returning within the next couple of months based on his original prognosis. In other words, this could all lead to another Shield reunion down the road, and we would be most certainly okay with that if they decide to go that route. So we'll just wait and see on that. But for right now, no question about it. This for me was the segment of the night, hands down. I mean, been a great feud, and we're getting the tag team matchup, and we'll definitely get into that as well because, like I said, that was another highlight of this show tonight. So nothing more to say. Phenom Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this opening segment here. Roman Reigns talking smack about Bobby Lashley, and then interrupted by Ziggler and McIntyre, and then they beat up on him. Rollins comes out, makes the save, and we got ourselves a tag team match, playa. Holla.
As Teddy Long would say, yeah, I thought this was a fine segment. I mean, yeah, Roman Reigns. I mean, basically, like you said, talking smack about Lashley, and of course, obviously, everybody knows that these two will be going off. Well, they will be facing each other at Extreme Rules. So it seems like there is no, no love between the two of them. But Ziggler and McIntyre come out and then beat up on Roman, and then the Architect, the Kingslayer, Seth Rollins comes out to make the save, and yeah, it looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned tag team match. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So I'm just gonna bring in Didi Woodson now. So come on in and give us your thoughts on this.
Yeah, this was a very well done segment. It was a good way to start Raw. Good way to kind of build, the storylines between, all these guys. Even though the Revival wasn't in this opening segment, but this still goes back to that match from last week. It goes back to, stuff with Lashley. It goes into the stuff now that's happening now with Rollins, and so I mean it's kind of a tangled mess, but in the end, Raw's actually did with this one segment that SmackDown does with the whole show. They built a storyline out of this segment, and that's what they needed to do. And like I said, I think it was a great start. It was a great way to kind of get everybody motivated for what was going to happen later on in the show. So not much more I'm going to say about it. I'll toss it over to Florio.
Okay, now when it comes to the first match of the evening, I'm going to tell you, normally this match would be considered a cutout, but this first match ended up being, if you can believe it, the sleeper fight of the night. I never thought I would say that, but it was a return match from last week. Yes, of course, that's far and away the biggest problem on Monday Night Raw today, repetitiveness, and that's going to be a theme here tonight. Woken Matt Hardy, Curtis Axel. You remember last week they had a match and it lasted about a minute with Curtis Axel winning. This match ended up getting a lot more time. Matt Hardy against Curtis Axel. And just to address, for those of you who were wondering what happened to Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy's tag team partner, if you didn't hear, Bray Wyatt this past week, this past Friday, was involved in a head-on car accident. And the good news is he's not seriously hurt. He said he's in good spirits and he's moving around. And Wyatt added, he says, I'm going to live through it because I can't die. And of course, he missed Raw due to multiple injuries suffered in the collision. But from what I know, their tag team championship match with the B team is still on for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view coming up in a couple weeks. But nonetheless, Curtis Axel against Matt Hardy, and the winners of the match, well, I should say the winner of the match, in about 9 minutes and 25 seconds, it was actually Curtis Axel. Yes, Curtis Axel gets the win again. And like a bullet come on in. I mean, normally we would consider this a cutout, but this actually ended up being actually good. So good, it ended up being the sleeper fight of the night in my book.
Yeah, going into this, we were all saying, yeah, this is it's going to be a cutout. It's going to be a dud. It's going to be one of the worst fights of the night. But no, this turned out to be much better than what I originally expected. So yeah, so this was a good match, and once again, Curtis Axel gets a win here. And what was the time, Florio? I couldn't quite hear.
9 minutes and 22 seconds to 9 minutes and 25 seconds.
All right. Yeah. I'm actually gonna give this about 2 to 2.25 stars. Like I said, this was a definitely a much better match than what we all thought going into this. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna say on it. So yeah, definitely continues to give the B team some momentum going into their Raw Tag Team title match at Extreme Rules. So nothing more to say. I'm just gonna give it to Dee Dee Woodson now.
Yeah, I'll agree with about 2 stars. It was a fairly good match. Yeah, I kind of surprised myself. But I'm thinking the only reason they did a rematch with these two was because Bray was injured. I think tonight was supposed to have been Bray Wyatt, probably fighting either Axel or Dallas, one of the two. But they ended up having to, so this would continue the storyline thing. Put Matt into the match against Axel again, and Axel managed to pull it off. So not much more I had to say about it. So Florio, I toss it over to you.
2 to 2.5. Like I said, this to me was the sleeper fight of the night. I know a lot of people are going to say it overstayed its welcome, but for me, you know, this was far and away better than last week. Last week's match, that was a cutout. This one, not so much. I mean, they obviously want to give the B team some momentum ahead of the tag title match at Extreme Rules, and yeah, Didi, I agree. I mean, if Bray Wyatt was not involved in that head-on car accident this past weekend, very likely he would have been in that match tonight, and I think it would have been him against his brother, Bo Dallas. Those of you who may not know, Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas in real life are brothers, sons of WWE legend Mike Rotunda, better known to best known for his role as IRS, Irwin R. Shyster, back in the 90s. But yes, I think it would have been the brothers. I think they would have gone at it tonight, Dallas and Wyatt. I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been awesome. Maybe we'll get it next week on the Go Home show. Who knows? But nonetheless, 2 to 2.5. For me, this was the sleeper fight of the night. Well done. Well done. That's great. So I couldn't be any more pleased about that. But we go from something to, of course, we got our cutouts here. And, well, we were wondering about this. This was the hot topic going into the weekend, or going into this show here tonight after what happened last week. You remember last week, Bayley absolutely lost it. She snapped. She absolutely went to town on Sasha Banks after that 6-woman tag last week where they went down to the Riot Squad, and Bayley lost her mind, beat the snot out of Sasha. And Kurt Angle ordered both Bayley and Sasha Banks to go to what they call mandatory counseling. And of course, we all know why. 2 reasons. One, because you know, if Bayley or Sasha did not comply, they were going to be immediately terminated. And of course, the other reason, a reason that Michael Bullock and I know very well, was because he was going to say, please. So that's all there is to say on that. And well, we got into it. They were scheduled to meet at the same time. And to the delight of Jason Powell of ProWrestling.net and the discretion of all of us, he's back. Dr. Shelby.
No.
And I called it last week.
Yes, you did, Edie Woodson. I believe you had that one. So, and there it is. The vintage Michael Bullock, I can't take it face has made its return. Ridiculously
Why,
long.
WWE, you need to bring this douchebag back?
Well, Jason Powell of ProWrestling.net, I think, is the only one who's actually happy about this. And
excuse me?
he actually, and he said yes. He said yes.
What a stupid idiot muttonhead he is.
No, I mean, I'm dead serious. If you
He's a stupid idiot muttonhead. Who the hell cares about Dr. Shelby? He's a freaking douchebag. Nobody gives two you-know-whats about him. I certainly don't.
We know you never liked him, Bullock. I mean, going back to...
Oh, I never will. If anybody sent me to counseling and they tell me you got Dr. Shelby, I'd say he can go screw himself.
Well, this is what Jason Powell said in his Raw review about this, and I quote, "Yes, Dr. Shelby is awesome. I can't say that I think this is the best approach for Banks and Bayley, given how well Bayley's attack on Banks was received by the live crowd last week, but at the same time, I'm thrilled to see Team Hell No's Silly Doctor return. I wonder if Harold can make a cameo appearance, too, of it, if his deal with ROH as Scorpio Sky will stand in the way." So,
boy, I would love to see Sasha and Bayley beat the crap out of him, saying, you know what? We're settling our differences in the ring at Extreme Rules in an Extreme Rules match.
Well, might want to hold that thought there, Bullock. We'll get into that. We'll explain it a little bit, but nonetheless, to the delight of Jason Powell and the not so delight of Michael Bullock and everyone else, yes, Dr. Shelby is back and working with Sasha and Bayley. So let's see what happens with that. So yes, it is to be continued. So obviously we're going to have some more antics next week. So, hallelujah to that. Okay. Moving on. We got more cutouts here.
Says freaking no one.
Yeah, says no one. So, tag team matchup, Authors of Pain, Acom and Razar against Titus Worldwide. Of course, the Authors went over 2 minutes, 50 seconds. It was a squash-style win for the AOP. After a staggered start, it looks like Creative is finally getting behind the former NXT Tag Team Champions. About damn time. Okay, now we'll get into something more positive here. Tag team matchup, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, the Little Shield reunion going up against Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, they win the match via a disqualification, 15 minutes and 40 seconds due to outside interference from the Revival. So, Didi Woodson, if we're all calm and gathered up here after that outburst by Bullock, your thoughts on this tag match here?
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I'm not even going to touch any more on the Shelby thing because I think that's going to set everybody off. Okay, for me, I have this as the match of the night. Although, yes, it was a DQ ending, but there was a lot here. I mean, it was, like I said, it was basically building off of the segment at the very beginning of the show, and they set it up here to where at the end, Revival comes out, they interrupt the match, they take out Roman while Ziggler and McIntyre take out Rollins, and then leave them both, in a mess on the right there on the mat. And the point was brought up earlier. This could lead to a Shield reunion, but that all depends on when they bring Ambrose back, which I'm thinking will be at the next major pay-per-view here in August. So, not much more I have to say about it. I'm going to give it 3 stars. Even though it was a DQ ending, it's still storyline building. There was still a lot of action, a lot to keep you glued to it. So not, like I said, not much more I'm going to go on it. So Floria, I'm going to toss it back to you.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. This was far and away the fight of the night. Absolutely. The overall match is 3.5 stars, but because of the DQ finish, I'm going to knock it down a peg to about 3 to 3.25. But it was still a very, very good match, without question. I mean, good match with a good finish, and definitely we could have done without the Revival interference, but it was what it was, and what was I going to say? Yeah, good and fun match. I mean, Seth Rollins in particular showed great fire, and while we usually frown upon disqualification finishes, this is one of the rare times it actually makes sense, because it built to yet another repetitive match, a match we've already seen a gazillion times, and yet we're getting it again here. Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley against the Revival, which we've already seen 2 weeks in a row, and we're getting it for a 3rd week in a row. The never-ending story, as I say. So, but that little nitpick aside, great fun match, great action throughout. But Seth Rollins, though, I mean, just amazing. I mean, we got to see a tope suicida. Yeah, Bullock and I would have had fun with that if we had our Raw chat tonight, but we didn't. So, but nonetheless, 3 to 3.25 stars. It would have been 3.5 if not for the DQ finish, even though it made sense. But nonetheless, fight of the night, far and away. Didi, I couldn't agree with you more. So, Michael Bullock, I know you're going to make it unanimous and say it was the fight of the night, but let's get your thoughts on it. 15 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, definitely the fight of the night. 3 to 3.25 stars. And, yeah, I mean, it would have been 3.5 if it weren't for the DQ finish, but it certainly does make sense. No doubt. the DQ finish. So, yeah, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So let's just move right along, Florio.
Okay, and we're going to move on now. Well, now we've got pretty much cutouts pretty much here. So, yeah, you thought it couldn't get any worse than Dr. Shelby. Well, it does. We get to hear from the Constable, Baron Corbin. Another problem of Monday Night Raw. No business whatsoever.
Another stooge.
Let me address this. What are they trying to do with Constable Corbin? Are they trying to make co-general managers here? Let me tell you something. They did the co-general manager thing once before. And when they did it, it actually worked. Because you had two entertaining guys in those roles. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Eric Bischoff. Years ago, those two were hella fun to watch. Let me tell you that right now. They were hella fun to watch. And, just my thought. I mean, when I was watching Raw, 15 years ago, during the Ruthless Aggression era, they had Stone Cold and Eric Bischoff as co-general managers, and their antics, they were fun. Let's not kid ourselves. They were fun. Kurt Angle and Constable Corbin, on the other hand, yeah, not so much. Well, nonetheless, Constable Corbin, runs his mouth and talking about how he wants to make Raw a better show, and Stephanie McMahon is, with her authority shenanigans, blah, 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 blah. Please. And then he calls out Finn Balor, because of what happened on the last show. And, well, they go at it. There was physicality, so we're not even going to, waste time on this. I'll just sum it up by saying, we're building the Balor and Corbin. Not good at all. They did some cringeworthy mic work and poorly attempted comedy, and they really have nothing better for Finn Balor other than a rehash of, this is basically Raw's version of Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. That's basically what this is. We didn't like it on SmackDown Live with those two. We sure as hell don't like it with these two here. So.
And Corbin's making Finn Balor look bad.
And that's another thing, Bullock. You're absolutely right. I mean,
Corbin makes everybody look bad because Corbin is bad.
That's right. He's green as grass.
Yeah, he sucks. And what was the point, Stephanie McMahon, of bringing him as this Constable Baron Corbin?
Kurt Angle was doing just fine until they brought him in.
I think they brought him in because he doesn't know what he's doing in the ring. He's too dangerous. He hurts people in the ring. So we gave him a new job by letting him be this constable crap that
because Stephanie McMahon still hasn't forgotten about losing to Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. It's just eating her alive. So she thinks if Kurt Angle's going to win this, he's got another thing coming. I'm going to use my quote-unquote authority shenanigans. You know how much you and I love that, Florio. Yeah, freaking right. Up my freaking ass.
Gag me with a freaking spoon, dude. That's all I can say on that.
I like to wipe my ass with that shit. Sorry about that, Florio, but I'm just so pissed right now.
And that's not PG.
No, it's not, Didi.
And that's why I'm apologizing right now. I mean,
yeah,
it's just the Dr. Shelby thing is just just eating at me.
And I know what you're thinking right now. You bring back Dr. Shelby. What's next? You're gonna bring back John Laurinaitis, for goodness sakes?
Well,
I'll really flip my lid if that happens.
We all know he still works there, so he's just not on camera.
If they bring him back on camera, Florio, you're gonna have to put the warning on your YouTube page.
Just don't watch Total Bellas since he's married to their mother.
That's true.
I don't even give two you-know-whats about it.
Yeah, Bullock is definitely he's in full-on phenom mode here tonight, and that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. So, okay, can we move on?
But before that, after that crap fest of a Raw, I think you know where I'm going.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
But we'll wait till we get to the review.
And we know where we know where Raw as a whole is going. So, okay, let's move on here. It's obvious they're trying to set up Constable Corbin against Finn Balor, and long story short, Finn Balor deserves way better than this. That's all I can say on that. So let's move on now. We have a women's matchup here. We had Ember Moon going up against Riot Squad member Liv Morgan. Now, another injury concern. You may have heard, for those of you who may not know, the leader of the Riot Squad, who I like, my Dark Angel, Ruby Riot, suffered an injury over the weekend during a live event. I believe she suffered a knee injury, and she's scheduled to undergo an MRI soon. So if you were wondering where Ruby Riot was, that's where she was. That's why she wasn't out there with her Riot Squad sisters and Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. But Sarah Logan was in Liv Morgan's corner for the match with Ember Moon. But nonetheless, it didn't matter. Ember Moon actually picks up the win in about 7.5 minutes. I'm gonna give this between 2 to 2. I'm gonna give this about 2 to 2.5 for this. I mean, it was an okay match. I thought Ember was gonna squash her in a short match, but no, they actually made Morgan looks pretty decent here. Moon looks great on the main roster, but Liv Morgan, though, she does need a lot of work on her control segments and doing less things to fill time. But Liv's Eclipse, her Eclipse, Ember's finishing maneuver, the Eclipse, that was, I gotta admit, she sold that thing very well, though. She sold that thing like a champ. I'll give her credit for that. But Liv Morgan, like Baron Corbin and Jinder Mahal, green as grass, needs a lot of work. Needs a hell of a lot of work if she's going to be anything special in the coming future. No disrespect or anything, nothing personal. It's just that she can't out of a wet paper bag. I'm sorry to say. So, just my opinion alone. Just telling it like it is, like I always do. So with that, we're just going to park it there. So, 7 minutes and 28 seconds, the time of the fall. Ember goes over 7.5 minutes. So decent enough fight. So I'll give this about 2 to 2.5 for the effort. So I don't think there's really anything more left to say here. So Michael Bullock, come on in. Ember Moon, nice win here over Liv Morgan, and I think that Eclipse made Liv's tongue even more bluer than it already is.
No kidding. After that, so I'll give it about 2.5 as well. So I mean Ember Moon definitely looked good here, but Liv Morgan definitely needs some work here. So there's really nothing more to say. So I'm just gonna give it to Dee Woodson.
She had to step out. Oh, okay, Dee.
Oh no, she's back. Yeah, she's here.
I just got back.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it about 2.5. It was a real good match on Amber's part. Liv does need a lot of work. She's still pretty green when it comes to the matches, but Amber, I think, still kind of made her look halfway decent in the match. So not much more I'm going to say about it. So let's go ahead and move on.
All right, we move on now, and let's see what we have here. Moving on, just give me a moment here. All right, the tag team match against Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns. Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns win the match 7 via a disqualification. If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to call cut out here because I don't think there's anything really, nothing really to really get into here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're okay with that? All right, so I would give it 1.5 for the effort. It was the second tag match with Reigns ending in a disqualification on the same show. They left Reigns out there forever to try and get the sympathy applause, and that failed miserably. I don't understand why they're trying to keep pushing this guy as a babyface. The fans hate his guts. Let's not kid ourselves. So, what does that tell you? So, it's just lazy writing. That's what it is. Lazy writing. That's all there is to it. Damn Ritters. All right. So with that, we're just gonna move on here. I mean, there's really nothing more to say on that. I mean, it was just a disaster of a match, and you could tell why I was dreading this match again. I mean, that's far and away the biggest problem on Monday Night Raw nowadays. Repetitive. That's all there is to say on that. I mean, straight up repetitiveness, and they give us the same stuff each and every week. Same stuff. Whereas SmackDown Live, we get almost a fresh match every week. Sometimes, yes, they do get repetitive, but not as much as Raw does. So, yeah. Some more to get into here. I mean, I'm just going to park it there. So, nothing more to say. Let's just move on. I don't know what else there is to move on to. I'm having technical difficulties on my end. Very slow. That's that pretty much. Yes. So I'm just going to need a moment here because I've got a slow moving connection here. So very, very slow. Technical difficulties. I do apologize, folks. So we're going to this as soon as I can. But hey, at least you made the Revival look good this evening. I mean, that's a big plus here. I mean, you made the AOP look good. You made them look good in taking down Titus Worldwide in a squash match. That was fine. They could have easily gone the other way on them and put them in the latest NXT Burial Club, but at least finally. I mean, I was high on those guys since they were in NXT and, you know, the former multi-time NXT Tag Team Champions. So, at least they're finally, you know, they're making them finally look halfway decent. Okay, here we go. Okay, then we were supposed to have No Way Jose against Mojo Rawley. That didn't happen. Again, they had this nonsense. But hey, Mojo Rawley at least continues to look vicious. His promo delivery is solid. And No Way Jose can't even get his fully televised entrance when it's basically his main roster calling card. My advice, get rid of these Rosebud rejects and let's give this guy a pure chance. That's all I can say there. All right. Then we had a second women's match of the evening. Nia Jax against Mickie James. Nia Jax had Natalya in her corner. Mickie James had Alexa Bliss in her corner. Nia Jax cut a little pre-match promo on the stage. And a couple things before we get into the match here. A couple things we got to address. First and foremost, Alexa Bliss will defend the Raw Women's Championship against Nia Jax. And it will be contested under Extreme Rules. There you go. And then from there, to sweeten the deal even more, Rowdy Ronda Rousey will be at Extreme Rules. But as a fan, she's going to be buying a ticket and she's going to be sitting front row at the PBG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for Rousey and Jackson Bliss's Extreme Rules match for the Raw Women's Championship. All right, Michael Bullock. Well, actually, let me get the fall here. Nia Jax, by the way, won the match. 9 minutes and 55 seconds, just north of 10 minutes. So, Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on all of this. Nia Jax and Mickie James's match. And, of course, hey, you wanted a Women's Extreme Rules match, man. You got it. Just not the two you were thinking. It's going to be Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship and the Rowdy one is going to be sitting ringside.
Oh boy, yeah. As far as the match goes, I'm gonna give it about another two and a half. If I'm gonna be quite honest here, yeah. I mean, this was a good match, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm down with the Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss going at it for the Raw Women's title, an Extreme Rules match, and yep, the rowdy one's gonna be there. But as a fan, like you mentioned, because she will be buying a ticket, but I got this sneaky suspicion that she might have she might get involved in this match, and I think it's going to lead to Ronda Rousey against Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. So that's just how I feel it's going to go down. I mean, I think those two will face off at SummerSlam with or without the Raw Women's title. So nothing else to say here. Dee Woodson. Looks like Little Miss Bliss is gonna have to go to the extreme against Nia Jax.
Yep.
And I know you're looking forward to Nia Jax giving Alexa Bliss exactly what she deserves.
Before you cut your mic out, did you catch the little look on her face when Nia announced that?
Oh yeah, she was freaked out about it. And I know you were like,
oh yeah, I was laughing my brains out.
You're gonna get exactly what's coming to you, Little Miss Bliss.
Oh yeah, especially since Ronda is going to be there at ringside, and we all know, Ronda's not going to sit out on this. She's more likely will jump in. She'll more likely get involved somehow, some way. Just like Miss Bliss tried to get involved on this match, and got to meet the immovable force of Natalya. So my only little gripe on this match is why they're taking someone like Mickie James, who has held the title for so many times, and making her look like a jobber, because she has not won any matches lately, and all she's doing is kissing Alexa's butt, which she doesn't need to do. We know she's got talent. We know she can wrestle because she's proved it in the past. And here they've got her just being a kiss up. So, that's my only major gripe, is why they're making her look bad. But of course, we all know right now Raw is written by a bunch of monkeys. And monkeys, most of them don't know their brains from their rear ends. So that kind of probably explains a lot of it right there. And don't get me started on my opinion of Vince McMahon, because that's not very high either. So, but yeah, I'm going to agree with the rating for 2 to 2.5. It still was a good match, and I think what made the whole thing, though, was that look that Little Miss Bliss had the minute she found out that she's defending her title against Nia Jax in that Extreme Rules match. So, not much else I had to say. So, Florio, take it.
I agree. Another 2 to 2.5 star match here. Okay match. But hey, I mean, Mickie did get some momentum in that match. I mean, Mickie did actually, there were times where Mickie actually got some decent offense in there. I mean, and I agree. I agree with you again. You make another great point. Mickie James, one of the all-time greats when it comes to the women's division. 6-time overall women's champion, combining with all those women's championships she won, during the Ruthless Aggression era. And also that one time she held the Divas Championship. And, one of the all-time greats, had so many great rivalries, of course. Most notably, the greatest rivalry she ever had was the one with Trish Stratus, of course, leading into WrestleMania 22 and that awesome match they had in Chicago. And no doubt about it, without question, in my opinion, a future WWE Hall of Famer, without a doubt, based on her body of work, absolutely. But nowadays, like Dee Dee said, they're making her basically a jobber to the stars. the stars of today. I mean, they feed her every week. They fed her to Nia here tonight, but they didn't all out feed her to Nia. They could have completely buried her, but no, they actually did make Mickie look good at parts of the bout. But yeah, the outcome was never in doubt. We knew Nia was going to win. It was expected, and as she should. I mean, you have to give her momentum going into the pay-per-view. But let me just say this: say what you want about Alexa Bliss. I know Michael Bullock and Didi Woodson hate her guts, and I can understand that. But it's just a character. That's all there is to it. Outside of the ring, I've seen some videos on YouTube, and she's a complete opposite outside of the ring. That's all I can say. You gotta see some of these videos. She's just, she's a delight outside.
Trust me, I've seen her outside the ring. I know that this is a character, that she's not anything like that.
Right.
So the hatred does just go to the character and not the person itself. So I'm going to clarify that right now.
And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, her character is one that everyone loves to hate. You and Bullock, I mean, are the two biggest that I know. So, but let's just see what happens. So, but with Ronda coming in and with the Extreme Rules match, I know Bullock wanted it to be Sasha and Bayley in that Extreme Rules match, but nonetheless, but hey, Bullock, I mean, in a way, you were right. I mean, we're getting an Extreme Rules match for the women, just not the two women you thought it would be. It's going to be Alexa and Nia who are going to get that match for the Raw Women's Championship. So, and then you got the rowdy one at ringside, Ronda Rousey, and she'll get involved, and it's going to lead to something at SummerSlam. I don't know if it's going to be a one-on-one match with Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey, or if it's going to be a triple threat with Ronda, Nia, and Alexa for the Raw Women's Championship. But make no mistake about it, Ronda Rousey will be challenging for the Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam. You have to believe it. Will it be against Alexa Bliss one-on-one? Could it be against Nia Jax one-on-one? Or could it be against both of them in a triple threat? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. My money is one-on-one with Alexa. That's all I can say on that. So we'll see. We'll see. And then they made it official. Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley at Extreme Rules, and also at Extreme Rules. So we should also mention that Dolph Ziggler will defend the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship against Seth Rollins in a 30-minute Iron Man match. Can you say fight of the night? I can. So with all that being said, main event, and this is one of the rare times where the main event is a cutout. Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens. Braun Strowman wins via a countout in 45 seconds. You heard me right. 45 seconds, not 45 minutes. Well, the good news is they didn't give away the match. We'll get these two at Extreme Rules in itself. But the bad news is it was a horrible segment as they continue to make Braun a parody of himself, and he just doesn't feel as hot or interesting as he previously was. Kevin Owens hides in an outhouse, if you will, literally hid himself in an outhouse, and then Braun Strowman duct tapes it shut, drags it into the building, and then charges and knocks him off the stage. And oh boy, talk about Monday Night Raw going down the crapper. Well, that segment tonight pretty much, literally put it down the crapper, without a doubt. So, well, that pretty much takes care of this edition of Monday Night Raw this evening. So, I don't remember who starts it off as far as the overall review is concerned. So, maybe we should just start it with Michael Bullock here, because I'm running into difficulties again. So Bullock and Didi take the overall review for a spin while I try to get my my settings straight here.
Okay, WWE. Why do you continue to piss me off with these crappy editions of Monday Night Raw week after week after week? I'm starting to get sick and tired of it. It's pissing me off, and you know what? I'm just gonna say it, and this is a rating I'm gonna give, and I'm only giving this a 2.5 out of 10. I'm sorry, this was just another total waste, and I mean, yeah, you had some good things going on, but other things were just ugh. I mean, that last thing with Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens just really rubbed me the wrong way. I really don't know what else is there to say. I mean, and Florio, remember that conversation that we had about what happens if we got another crap fest of a Raw?
Well, like, I hope you are.
Huh?
Are you boycotting? I hope you are.
Well, after what happened tonight, I'm making it official right now. I am freaking boycotting Monday Night Raw, so that means you are not going to see me on Ridiculously Raw. And Florio, I know we don't, but you know what? We're still going to have our Monday night, our Raw chats during the oh, wait a minute. No, since I'm boycotting Raw, that means no Ridiculously Raw and no Monday Night Raw chat. So, WWE, you better wake up and start giving us good shows again, and then you'll start getting me back on. But until then, I got nothing I want to do with Monday Night Raw ever again until you start producing good shows. Thank you. Nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, okay. No, this was not the best of shows. I'm going to give it 3 stars. But as for that ending segment, yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It was funny to a point, but it was interesting. For those who don't like Kevin Owens, they would probably love that little segment. But why, when they took him out of the porta potty, was he blue?
Good question. I think we were all expecting literally crap.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a used porta potty, he would be sopping wet and have brown gunk all over him and everything, but he was blue. He had blue paint on him. He looked like a giant Smurf. I don't get that. I mean, that's probably the biggest irk I had of that whole segment. I mean, I kind of enjoy a little bit of Strowman beating up on Kevin Owens. I mean, it's funny because, you know, Kevin Owens makes it funny, especially when he does the total flips every time Strowman clotheslines him. But that didn't make one lick of sense, you know. Bring the porta potty on stage, fine, that's good. Shove it off, fine, that's good. Bring Kevin Owens out covered in blue paint, not good, because why is there blue paint in a porta potty? You know, are you using it to store stuff instead of using it as a bathroom, or what? I don't know, but yeah. And the running gags of the night with the backstage segments, you know, you start out with it being Roman and Rollins, and then you get the Dr. Shelby junk, and then we get into Kevin Owens. So I mean, you had like 3 I guess you could say major running gags going on these segments that, of course, we didn't really cover a lot of, but you know that it gets kind of old when you start seeing these same segments week after week. You know, seeing Kevin Owens going to Kurt Angle and begging, please don't put me in a match with Braun Strowman. Please don't do this. Please don't do that. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. That gets old after a while. We already covered Mickey James and her being used now more as a jobber to make everybody else look good. And all these other things. And of course, Corbin and Balor, we all got into that. I still think that, making Corbin this constable is probably the worst idea WWE's had. But, he can't wrestle, so we have to find something for him to do because we like him too much to do anything else with him besides let him kiss Stephanie McMahon's butt. So here we have him out here just mainly to humiliate Kurt Angle. So, yeah. But other than that, I mean, we had some pretty good matches. We actually had some storyline building, which is a surprise because usually Raw is not known for that. That's SmackDown that's known for storyline building. But we actually had some storyline building. We actually had some stuff that actually is going to lead to pay-per-view that was actually, fairly good. But we also had a lot of crap, as you could tell from a lot of the cutouts and a lot of the griping that kind of has happened. So, not much more I have to say about it. Pick and choose if you haven't watched it on what you want to watch. But I can tell you now, there's not much here that you'll enjoy unless you just like crap. Because, basically that's what Raw ended with, and that's what these monkey writers are giving us. And yeah, now that it is one big pile of shit, I agree with that. Okay. Yep, that works. Let's go give the monkeys some bananas and get them out of the writing room and get some real people in there that know what the heck they're doing. Or, hey, WWE, why don't you hire us? Because I think the three of us, along with Fletch and even Derek, could probably write a hell of a lot better show than what you're giving us for Raw.
Amen.
Otherwise, I'll look for anybody who wants to go with me down there, and we'll go raid the building and tell Vince McMahon what we really think to his face. So, not much more I have to say about it. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
All right. We don't know what's going on tomorrow night because we don't know where Meth is. So we'll
exactly.
Yeah. So we'll have to.
I'll hit him up tomorrow and find out.
Yeah, that's good. So we'll see. We'll hopefully see you tomorrow, Dee. We'll see what goes on. So
if not, I'll see you whenever we decide to do a SmackDown show.
yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So
I don't know what happened to him. Maybe it was a last minute work commitment. I don't know.
That it had to be that. It had to be that. I mean, he usually tells us. So
I mean, working for Walmart, I kind of know. I haven't actually worked for Walmart, but Kevin did for a while, and I know exactly how they are. And yeah, they will snooker you into extra hours if that's what they need. So that may be what happened. He may got called in, or he may had to stay over.
Very, very, very possible.
So, or have to get up early in the morning and go in. So
hey. That's true too. So
yeah. So I will hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you whenever MF says, "Hey, we're having a show." So
exactly.
Otherwise, I'll see you on Go Home Show.
Alrighty. Yeah. So
All right. Good night.
All right. Good night, Dee Dee. Before I give my review, now Bullock, I know you're fully boycotted this, but there is one thing I want you to consider though. Next week's show is in your town, if you will, Boston, Massachusetts. It's going to be at the TD Garden.
I don't care.
Okay, that pretty much sums it up.
I don't care if it's in Boston. I don't care if it's anywhere. I already told you, I'm boycotting Monday Night Raw.
Okay, I just wanted to be 100% sure. So, all right, so I'll just park it there. See that photo right there? See that photo in my my shot there? that pretty much sums up. That pretty much sums it all up right there. So I think that's self-explanatory. 3.5 out of 10 is my rating. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, I hope you guys are happy because you just made Michael Bullock boycott your show. If that doesn't send a message, I don't know what it is. Vinnie Mac said during the Stone Cold podcast, it's not about what I want, it's about what the audience wants. Furthest thing from the truth. It's obvious that it's what you want and not what we want. That's all there is to say on that. You and your bucktooth beaver buddy, Kevin Dunn. I mean, the two of you are the reason why this show has literally gone down the crapper. I almost don't know what to say about Raw anymore. I mean, I have tried to convince people it's a good show. I'm trying to convince Bullock it's a good show, and there are times I feel it's better than some think, but tonight's show was not a good show at all. They did some very light build to the pay-per-view, but for the most part, it feels like nothing is really happening. And if any of us missed the show, you would have missed nothing at all. Nothing feels important. I could forgive some of the poor elements if there was some good wrestling involved, but we didn't even get that. I mean, disqualification finishes, too many tag team matches, too many cutouts. I mean, criminy. I mean, I hope you're happy there, Vinnie Mac and Kevin Dunn, because you just made Bullock boycott this show. I mean, I hope you're proud of yourselves because I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, I know Bullock doesn't have one of those Team Raw t-shirts, but I'm sure if he did, he probably would have either burned it or done something with it. So something unflattering to it. So we're just gonna park it there. So go home show for Extreme Rules next week, and that's gonna be at the TD Garden in Boston. And I just hope and pray that somehow, some way, this show actually ends up being at least halfway decent. So, but with our luck, it probably won't. So repetitive. That's the word of the day, my friends. So we're just gonna leave it at that. So let's get into something more positive. That's the Tony's take here, and we know this is gonna be better. 205 Live. We had Akira Tozawa against Tony Nese. Akira Tozawa wins in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. 3-star match, good opening match. They've actually worked quite a bit together on that in main event, and they developed a good chemistry recently. So I'll give that about 3 stars for that. Lio Rush making his debut against some Ham and Egg jabroni. He won it in 1 minute and 50. Good introductory match for Lio. He looked crisp and clean in his execution. And then the 6-man elimination match, Lucha House Party, Drew Gulak, Jack Gallagher, D. Brian Kendrick. When all was said and done, Drew Gulak, Jack Gallagher, and D. Brian Kendrick won the match. Drew Gulak was the sole survivor for his team, knocking out Kalisto. 17 minutes and 5 seconds. Pretty good main event, but it came off to me as a bit of a disappointment considering the talent involved. I mean, it was well below recent 205 Live main events. It lacked that fire and sense of urgency that this feud should have had here, as their regular tag match came off much better a few weeks back, but it picked up well towards the end, and the Gulak win played well, but it left a lot to be desired for me. I can only give it 2 3/4 stars, I'm sorry to say. Still a good show, 6 3/4 to 7 out of 10. I mean, it was a pretty good show, good opener, and a strong debut for Lio Rush. They also set up a match for next week and started the Alexander and Itami feud. And main event didn't deliver. It felt long and lacking in the energy of recent main events. Next week, though, tomorrow night, no disqualification match. Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali. That's going to be hella fun. I cannot wait to see how that turns out. It's going to be a great, great matchup, I think. So that's definitely one I'm definitely going to be checking out tomorrow night. So there's that. So now we'll move on to Impact Wrestling from last week, and this ended up being a good show as well. So let's get into this. started it out with an in-ring segment. Madison Rayne came out and, cut a standard babyface promo, talking about how at Slammiversary she will become a 5-time Knockouts champion when she challenges Su Yung. But she got interrupted by Tessa Blanchard, and it led into what ended up being the main event of the evening, Madison Rayne against Tessa Blanchard, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But it was a solid opening segment, playing off of Madison's comeback story and upcoming title match with Su Yung. We're all reminding us that Tessa is a complete biatch, so we're just going to leave it there. Now, I said last week that this Impact Wrestling was going to feature the debut of a former WWE Cruiserweight champion. Well, it did. Who is that former WWE Cruiserweight champion that's now in Impact Wrestling? Well, Bullock, I know I'm going to make you feel better when I say this. One of your old favorites. Can't handle this. Rich Swann. Yes, Rich Swann is now in Impact Wrestling, and he went up against Trevor Lee. And Rich Swann won the match in 12 minutes and 40 seconds. 3-star match. Swann wins a good match in his debut, pinning a former multi-time X Division champion, starting off on the right foot. And I'll tell you, just like he was for that Cruiserweight division way back when, I think he's going to be a great addition to the X Division as far as I'm concerned. And actually, I'm going to call this the fight of the night. That's how good this was. So I'm just going to park it there. Then they showed an angle from PCW in Los Angeles, Sami Callihan and OVE attacking Pentagon Jr. and unmasking him. Good play off of last week, and it looks as if we're heading towards a mask versus hair match at Slammiversary. And actually, they did make that official. At Slammiversary, Sami Callihan and Pentagon Jr. will meet in a hair versus mask match. So, another debut, the debut of a new tag team, the Desi Hit Squad. They went up against DJ Z and Andrew Everett, and the Desi Hit Squad picks up the win in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. 2-star match, okay tag match, with DJ Z and Andrew Everett working hard to make the Desi Hit Squad look as good as they could. Desi Hit Squad, they're an okay team, but I'm not overly sold on them just yet. And then Eddie Edwards, they showed an angle appearing at Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore at the old ECW arena, basically attacking Tommy Dreamer. And like the Sammy and Pentagon angle, another good angle to set up another potential Slammiversary match. I think we will get Eddie Edwards against Tommy Dreamer at Slammiversary. Non-title matchup, X Division champion Matt Sydal against Desmond Xavier. Matt Sydal wins in 7 minutes. 2 3/4 stars. Pretty good match with Xavier again coming close, but failing against top competition due to Sydal's shady tactics. I know these two have a better match in them. I'm just waiting for it. And then we had the main event of the evening. Madison Rayne against Tessa Blanchard. Madison Rayne wins it 8 minutes and 6 seconds. Another 2 3/4 star match. Good match, pretty good match, with Madison picking up the win to keep her momentum ahead of her Slammiversary title shot against Su Yung. The booking of Tessa, though, I gotta say it's questionable since they made such a big deal out of her. But she might not be locked up long term, but it did make sense though with Rayne, challenging for the Knockouts Championship at Slammiversary against Su Yung. So 7 out of 10. There was nothing spectacular on this show, but this past edition of Impact Wrestling, an overall good and focused show. Rich Swann made a very good debut. They continue to build Madison as a strong title contender. They set up Pentagon and Sami Callihan in that mask versus hair match for Slammiversary. The LAX saga continues to be a blast. Eddie Edwards is on a collision course with Tommy Dreamer. And they also announced that Rich Swann will compete at Slammiversary in a Fatal 4-Way match against Phoenix, Johnny Impact, and Taiji Ishimori. And they set up matches for next week. And like this past show, unlike the previous show before this, it was another good show, and they could be peaking heading towards Slammiversary in a few weeks. So we're just going to park it there. So that was a 7 out of 10, without a doubt. So let's see here. Then we have and now this is what we're going to see on the next show. D'Angelo Williams is going to come to the ring, and he gets interrupted by Austin Aries. Katarina will make her Knockouts debut. She'll go up against Rebel. The mystery attacker, Killer Cross, will go up against Falaba. OVE and Sammy Callahan. They had another angle with Pentagon Jr., Desmond Xavier and Andrew Everett. Nothing will happen there. Eddie Edwards is going to ruin that. Knockouts tag match. Allie and Madison Rayne are going to square off against Su Yung and one of her undead bridesmaids. The LAX saga, that's going to take a big turn next week, this upcoming week, and Brian Cage will square off against Congo Kong, and that's pretty much all she wrote. So, all right, so that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. I don't know what the story is about Cerebral Smack Talk. I don't know where MF is, but hopefully we'll get something tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled to our respective social media. We'll see what the story is about the Cerebral Smack Talk coming up. Unfortunately, we do not have a docket for Strictly Sports yet. Derek says he's going to release that tomorrow, so I cannot give you the docket just yet. We'll have it tomorrow. Major League Baseball Power Rankings, I'm sure, will be on there, and there's one story that I'm pretty sure will be on the docket for the show. I'll be shocked if it isn't. The big story, of course, in the NBA, if you didn't hear, LeBron James signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm sure that's going to be on the docket, so we'll see how that goes. So I don't know what the story is. I don't know where MF is. Obviously, he probably had work commitments, or he had something else. I don't know, but hopefully we'll hear from him sometime tomorrow, and we'll see what the story is for the Cerebral Smack Talk. You know, we got SmackDown Live, and of course, I'm sure on the Mikey's Mindset, he'll get into Lucha Underground, and he'll probably also talk about the RWA Legacy show that went down this past weekend. So see how that goes down, and the Strictly Sports docket will be released sometime tomorrow. We don't have it tonight, but Derek and the producers, I'm sure, will have it up sometime tomorrow, and we'll let you know what that is. So that's it. So till the next time we see you, we don't know when that will be. We don't know if it'll be tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk or what the story is. So stay tuned. So until the next time we see you, get ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and of course Derek Ferrer. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. But for now, my friends, God bless. Be good to each other. And until the next time we see you, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 and YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.